Hey everybody, this is John. Just doing a little babysitting on the position front here Monday morning. So on BIDU, we had some puts both on BIDU and Yahoo left over from the class. And for this, I actually ended up letting some of my options expire in the money so that I would be short the stock at 225. Now on Monday, it sold off here and the NASDAQ is under pressure. Which is all well and good, but then the question becomes, okay, so we've had this nice move down, and at this point, is BIDU going to reverse and rally and make new highs, meaning erase all of the profit that we have here, or do we kind of come back up to this voodoo line and roll over and die, and maybe even go down to 215 later in the week? Well, what I always like to watch here is the volume. So when we broke here, you can see we had a big volume, kind of a stop run. And now we're kind of crawling our way back up to the voodoo line, right? Well, that's normal, okay? The real key here and kind of where the rubber meets the road is if price is rejected from here and volume starts to increase, then we're going to see BIDU continue to work its way lower. Okay, and then on a daily chart, we're actually going through, we're kind of right at the mean. The mean, the 21 period moving average is $219.90. So you can see this also lines up here with that 21 period moving average. If we switch this to a daily chart real quick, so you can see we've come here. So this is actually a good area to be careful, a good area to potentially take profits. The other thing that I'm looking at here is that the NASDAQ is also selling off, and you can see it's at its 8 EMA. If we bring down to the intraday chart here, you can see it's come down pretty good. We're coming back up to support, and the question is, does it get rejected from here? Okay, and so last but not least, then what I'm watching here, just to kind of get a handle on, okay, is this market going to rally and I need to get out of this position, or can I hang on to this a little bit more? I mean, take some off the table, is just looking at the ticks. So the ticks here, we open down, you can see we're coming back up again, and it's kind of the same thing here. I'll switch this to a 1 minute view here, that if the ticks here had come up to like plus 600, then at that point, the decline is pretty much over, and we can look for the stock indexes to fill their gap, okay? And on the other hand, if the indexes come up here, and you can see it in terms of a level, that's the zero level right there, and if they can't really push through zero and they roll back over and come back into minus 800, then we're going to be looking at a fairly significant down day. Okay, so that's just kind of what I'm looking at this morning to, let's come back over here and we'll look at BIDU, just to kind of look at and kind of manage and look at this trade that I'm in. So you can see here, so the NASDAQ ticks, and obviously then the stock symbol that I'm watching here. And you can see at least so far, it's been rejected. That doesn't mean that that's gonna last. So far here, it's been rejected. I can try to wiggle my mouse here a little bit down here and see if it'll produce some more selling. But what I really need now is that if this is truly gonna sell off, then the markets need to sell off. And as I'm watching the ticks here, you can see the ticks aren't quite rolling over yet. Obviously keeping an eye on those, and if we can, so my plan here is that if we can push to new lows, I'll start taking some of this off the table, and conversely, if we push up through 220, I'll also start taking some of this off the table. So that's kind of a two-pronged approach here. In a perfect world, we just kind of slow bleed down here, maybe to 217. Hey, I wouldn't argue with that at all, but I'm also very cognizant of the fact that this is a strong market and could take off, okay? So I'm just trying to cram everything into this window that I'm recording, but you can see I'm watching the ticks. You can see the ticks here coming up above zero. The NASDAQ is still down 17 points. BIDU, a little bit of a bid, not much of a response here. But really what's gonna happen here is that if the ticks explode and go to plus 800, I would assume that BIDU would also rally. If the ticks just hang up here, like they're just above zero, that's nothing. If they roll back over though, then things could get pretty interesting. So that's what I'm watching here. So as I'm watching this, you can see the ticks here really having a tough time, so no real commitment to buying. BIDU is kind of trading near its lows. Again, for this to continue, I really don't want to see it, explode through that snow line. I'm watching some other key stocks like Netflix here. You can see it just pushed to new lows on the day. Priceline, kind of the same thing. So we'll see here. I'm also watching Alibaba, which is down, it's down about $2, although it's bouncing here too. So this could go either way here. So those are just the things that I'm watching. And then in terms of time and sales, I'm actually not a huge fan of watching time and sales. The one time I will watch it is, and by huge fan I mean I'm not going to use it to make trading decisions, but you know, if I am in a position like this, and this is one of those positions where it's like, okay, do you have 20 different small positions or one larger position, and you know, you put your eggs in one basket and watch that basket, then I'll bring out time and sales and see how it's acting around support. Okay, and what I'm looking at is, you know, are they going to be there more? The red is selling. It means that there's orders, sell orders going out on the bid, versus green is buy orders going out on the ask. And what I want to see is kind of that cascade of red, just to show that, man, the bids are just being hit. They're being sold. And it just kind of shows, it's like, all right, this thing is, you know, it's trying to break through. If suddenly there's like a big wave of green coming in, then I just want to be a little bit more careful, right? So, all right, so just looking at this view here, we know that I'm at 13. So look at the bid ask is 1165 by 13, and it's 13 because I'm on the offer. Theoretical price is 1233. So really, for me to get filled, that theoretical price needs to get to 13. It means that BIDU is going to need to like drop about 50 cents, okay? The low on the day is 217.41. So we can watch here and see if it's going to chew through that. So we're at 217.66. Is there that cascade of red here, or is there more green? Remember, this is a voodoo line, a little bit a minor level, but it's still support. You can see that, you know, we fall here, trade, bam. And if we can get through this, then, you know, we got some nice downward price action in here. But also remember that the NASDAQ's at support here, but the ticks continue to find some downside pressure. So everything looks good. There we go. Boom. Ticks coming down. BIDU should fall unless it's going to completely buck the trend of the markets here. Let's see. All right, so the ticks here are still coming down. BIDU's coming down. Okay, we're starting to jump up here. We got time and sales right here, so we can see that the order has cleared. If it does clear, we're 1165 bid by 13. Now, if I wanted to get out right now, I could at 1165. If I place an order at 1250, I could also most likely get out there at that theoretical price. We are just kind of hanging out right here. I mean, BIDU is going to need to make new lows here. And the good news is, if it breaks 217.15, that it could actually fall pretty quickly to 215.01-ish and change. All right, so we're breaking some new lows here. We are at 1270. There, boom. Okay, just sold. There's the time and sales there. So now what I've done is I've just reduced my position size from 500 contracts to 400. And again, if you've got a smaller account and you're trading 5 lots, you did the exact same thing, and you could do 1. Okay. Now what I'm watching here is that if we can break 217.15, then it opens up the doors for a quick move to 215.01, which is where I'd want to take some more profits. I'm also conscious of wanting to take some here. So I'm watching this bid ask here on time and sales. So the low is 217.26. The bid is 217.26, 217.20. All right, and let's watch this. So we're at the lows here, 217.15. We want to see it break through that. 217.31, 20s, 16s, 15s, right there. That's the level. Can we? Yeah. Now we're pushing through it. So now you can see that the theoretical price is hanging out here around 13 bucks. Okay, 12.95. So theoretical price is still right around $13. And, you know, I mean, we're hanging here. The danger here at this point is with the NASDAQ at support and BIDU kind of hanging here, I don't want to rally back to 220. And as you can, just listening to me, I'm starting to get a little anxious, right? Like, I really don't want to give up all that profit. So that's an easy decision here. Sell down to the sleeping point. Theoretical price is $12.95. I'm going to place, let's see if we can do the new high here at 13.10. Of course, I can do the same thing. So this is the stock. You know, you guys, if you're worried about getting assigned stock ever, if you get assigned stock that you want in the direction that you want, that's fine. Like I had these 40 puts that expired worthless that I had sold, or I'd sold 40 calls that expired in the money. And at 225, I just kept them. I'm like, I'd love to be short BIDU at 225. And so that's what my price was on the stock. So now I can also just decide where do I want to get out of this. Now the nice thing with the stock is that of course you're not going to have that theta decay, and of course this is only represents 40 options. All right, so BIDU now you can see it's chewing through. So now that we're through this, we should fall down here fairly quickly. At this point, I would want to start taking some off the table On a daily chart, we're also at the 34 period moving average. Okay, so let me switch this to the daily real quick. And you can see we've got the 34 period moving average, which we're essentially right on top of, and 215. So this is kind of the prime target zone. Obviously, if it keeps on going, it gets down here. There's a great saying that Paul Tudor Jones has, and it says, essentially it says, nobody can train you how to manage the last third of a move. Okay, so we rallied up to resistance. This to me is like, okay, that's a logical area to, after the BABA IPO came out, to establish some short positions. It would be awesome if we pulled back to like, this voodoo line here, 220. Well, this morning we opened at it and pushed right through it. It's like, oh, cool. Maybe we're going to get some, better moves. And then if we go back to a 1 minute chart and we can just kind of see, actually 5 minute chart, but then you can just kind of see how it's going that way. And then if we come over here and we look at the ticks, we can see that there's some real selling going on today, which of course, since we have puts on this, that's what we want to see. So I sold those first 100 contracts, or the first fifth of my position, at $13. And right now you can see we're 1235 by 1405. And on crazy days like this, the bid ask typically will widen, but I could get out at 1320 if I wanted to. We are kind of in my profit zone where I don't want to be a dick for a tick. I mean, I think we can get down to 215. Let's bring this here. Price is coming down. That's great. The offers, what I want to do here is actually put in orders just below the current offer. Not that I don't think I'm going to get filled here, but the expectation is that BIDU continues to kind of fall down into this level. Okay, and again, I don't want to be too cute because we're kind of at the zone. I mean, BIDU's down $8.50. What more do I want, right? But we should hit this 215 level. We're at 216.40. And right now I'm the offer. And let me see, Theo price is getting close. Theo price is 1338, so I'm still a little bit of ways from that. So essentially we need to sell off into that. So I'm placing my orders with the idea that we can get that. All right, so we're kind of starting to get some ticks here. We're kind of in my zone, so I don't want to screw around here too much. Theo price is 1330. I do want to dump some of this off. I don't want to be scrambling to chase out of this. So let's come down here to 13. I'm going to come try 1350. See if there's any takers there. Now, Theo price was it? Okay, it did come up, but Theo price was listed at 1330, and I put in my order, and it got picked off. So just kind of remember, you don't want to, when it's a wide spread like that. And that was, looks like the high of the option. And I'm going to continue kind of lightening up here. At this point, I do want to get out of 3/4 of my position. Let me cancel those. Jizz. And then I can put a trailing stop on the rest. So Theo price is 1322. Still above where we first got out. So if it's at 1320, price is coming down a little bit. Let's try 1350 again. Got some taken off. So even though Theo price was 1320, I did 1350 and I got 12 contracts taken off. Let's come back over here and look at, so I'm at 1350. It's showing Theo price at 1313. Now, of course, what happens here, you can see the bid-ask spread is tightened. Why? Because I'm the offer. So the market makers will tighten the spread if there's a legitimate offer out there. 1340. You can see I've got 288 contracts. If I can get filled, I'll be down to 200, and then I'll be out of, there we go. So now I'm out. So now this is a little bit different. It's a little less stressful. I'm like, okay, I got a little bit more room here to maneuver down into this level. What you don't want is that, you come into a target and then you retrace like a mother, and that's the worst. And at this point, it looks like a steady, a little kind of a steady thing. Now, if we look at some of these positions I have, you can see here that I've got a call spread, which of course I don't need to worry about, but I do have a put spread as well that we're getting into. So instead of defending this, I'm just going to get out. There is some weird stuff going on here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the long put, okay? So I'm just going to buy back the short put. Just at current levels, I don't even care. And now I own the 210 puts. So I might be able to make up the loss of my spread from that portion of it. All right, so hopefully that all made sense. I mean, the other things that I can do here now with BIDU that I'm going to look at is you can just get out and chalk it up as a nice trading day. But the other thing you can do too is kind of start legging into stuff, meaning that, you know, we're at 216 and this was kind of the target we were looking at. Well, I could sell the 215 put spreads against my position, and that would bring in some additional premium and it would limit my gains for the rest of it. But, you know, if it fell to 200, but that's a way to do, that's one way to do it. You know, and I could do that against the short shares too. If you're not familiar with that, it's not a big deal. But what's happening is you're just kind of, you know, protecting what you have. So for today, the long side has been obviously brutal. So AutoZone here, my 10 contract position there is down. I obviously spent a lot of time last week on BIDU and Yahoo, so focused mostly on those because of what was going on with the IPO. F5 stopped out. FSLR stopped out. ADHD, this was kind of a bonus. I had sold those 17.5 puts. It closed like right at 17.5. I took delivery of those shares, and at this point, I'm just planning on, I'll probably dump the shares, but want to continue to keep those puts there. For those of you that are interested in seeing more of kind of a live trading environment where live trades are managed, we are going to have an open house to our live trading room this Wednesday and Thursday, September 24th and 25th. It'll be during market hours, which is 9:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. That's, of course, 8:30 to 3 Central time. Free access to our live room for 2 full days. You just put in your first name, your email here, and register now, and you can see which type of trading we're doing in this current market environment, and you can follow along with us if you so choose. All right, looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday morning.